Welcome to Meaningful Mondays with the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, where we only know good people who do great things in our community. Whether you are a volunteer, a donor, or a nonprofit organization, each episode of Meaningful Mondays will celebrate you, our friends and neighbors who have a deep passion for and commitment to improving the quality of life for all in Middlesex County. So let's kick off the week with great conversations with remarkable people, businesses, and nonprofits making a difference right in our own backyard. Well, welcome, everyone. It's Meaningful Monday in Middlesex County, and we always have the best people to share conversations with. But I have to say, every day in Middlesex County is meaningful. Don't you agree, Tom?
I would definitely agree.
All right. And I am joined today by Tom Gezo, volunteer extraordinaire. I will just start with that. So, Tom, as you know, the theme has been lately the payback of giving back. And really, you know how to give back more than anyone that I know. First of all, I'm so happy that you're on our board of directors and on our executive committee. But since we've known you and since you've been with us, you have been extraordinary in your care and concern for the nonprofits and your volunteer hours. So I'd like to talk a little bit about you first, and then we'll jump into your volunteer work. So you're a retired business exec. You're a consultant for businesses and nonprofits, and then you jumped right in and donated hours of volunteer time for local nonprofits. Why? So tell us a little bit about you, the before and the after, or the now.
So I think, we had a conversation some long time ago where you said that philanthropy and volunteerism is something that you inherit from your parents. You get taught at a young age. And I would say, in my family, both my parents were very active in volunteering at that time, mostly for the church. And but they were very engaged in the church community and very engaged in the community. I grew up in a small steel town, and where people would say, I'm telling your dad, and they would. So,
oh, yes. Do we remember that? Or your mom, which could have been worse.
So that was awful. But we've really been blessed in so many ways. So I really, it's a little bit of give back. And it's also really, for me, educational to understand what's going on with the nonprofits in our community, and very humbling when you realize that life would be so different without the nonprofits and all the valuable services they perform.
I think that let's focus on that last statement, because the nonprofits are sort of under the radar for the most part until you need them or until you volunteer for them. So let's talk about the CEO Network in the context of, we started that through our Nonprofit Resource Center in 2018, I think. So it's been a long-term thing. And if you could explain what the CEO Network is, and then with my under the radar thing, what do we want people to take away from that CEO Network and what they do, and they really are the backbone of our community.
Yeah. So the CEO Network, I think, came up as a great idea. Dan Osborne, Gilead, and Michelle Rolnick from the Middletown YMCA had the great idea of getting together with their peers and talk with you about it. And you and the additional funders, United Way and was
Liberty Bank Foundation, right?
Yeah, got together and we picked a group of folks. I volunteered to facilitate it, and which was, when you volunteer, it's like no good deed goes unpunished, but quite to the contrary. it's been just a wonderful thing. It's a group of about a dozen CEOs from various nonprofits, heavily weighted towards health and human services. But
Right.
we have folks we've got Sarah from Habitat and Dick from Oddfellows. So it's a healthy mix. And since 2018, a few things have happened. So,
Yeah,
sort of
yes, just quite a few.
the pandemic. So there have been, ups and downs, and it was originally envisioned as a way for people to share best practices. And I think over time, it has been a little bit of learning. We've had subject matter experts come in
Right.
and speak with us, and we've had a good deal of sharing of what's working. We've had members of the network contact their peers when they run into a little problem or something like, we're redoing our insurance. What kind of providers are you looking at? Very operational in some respects, but it's also been a trusted place where the members can
Mm.
come and really let their hair down and talk very frankly about challenges that they're facing and triumphs too, not to be forgotten. And it has been a great spot and a group of folks that have come together, and it's just been wonderful. And we have lots of stories. It feels like family, to be honest. Uh, and I was recently talking with Helen Bosch of Vista, and I was saying, I was hoping somewhere along the lines that we would have a little bit more in the way of the members kind of driving the content. And she was saying that, well, it's really was just a place where I could come and I could learn, I could talk, and I didn't have to worry about preparing and everything. So it was.
Right. And no, I think that's a really good point because they are the CEOs and there's so much on their plate. And just to come and be in a trusted place. I love that term, trusted place. I think is really very important to them. And you've made them feel so comfortable, Tom. I would like everyone to know that we took this very seriously and we set up a confidentiality agreement that everybody had to sign and abide by because they have let their hair down and they have shared a lot of triumphs, challenges, opportunities for improvement, that kind of thing. So this, while it's not just a conversation, it's really a trusted place. I love that term. What has it, I mean, if you think about it, 2018 pre-pandemic, so here we are in 2025. Are there highlights to the conversations that you can relate to our audience?
So there have been bright spots and light spots, as I like to say.
Right.
Uh, there has been very passionate stories told about successes. Uh, One of the members shared a person with disabilities who was basically nonverbal when they started their programs and ended up in a performance
Right.
and such a tremendous transformation. I mean, the entire team was in tears because it was really a very, very moving story. So, I remember that quite clearly. I remember just the kind of all hands on deck during the pandemic where
Mhm.
everybody was just, completely overwhelmed, but rose to the occasion and put the solutions in place and put Zoom on the map and relied heavily on one another for how they were coping with the challenges.
And sharing documents and policies, because that was a whole new, I always say we walked on jello through that period, but yet they did come through and they shared, so no one had to reinvent the wheel because there was so much going on.
And then we've also, I mean, that was, quite remarkable from a resilience standpoint. And,
Mhm.
with a lot of the changes with funding lately, you'll remember the meeting where it was it started out, well, we have some challenges, but we're getting through it. And, every day there's always something. And then, then I asked the telling question, like, well, what keeps you awake at night? And my God, we both came away from that meeting really kind of shaken to our core of the kinds of issues and challenges that were facing the nonprofits at that time and continue in large part.
Really, it is continuing, and I will say, I always say, hug your nonprofit, hug your favorite nonprofit, because you never know when they really need it. But really, if we think about the challenges that came during pandemic and continue, staffing is a huge issue for them,
Absolutely.
and if, ladies and gentlemen watching, if you think about the diaper banks, or you think about the libraries, or you think about the after school programs, without staffing, that won't happen. And those things that make our community very special because of the nonprofits will go away, and we can't have that. So, but now you're taking it to another level, Tom. But before we go there, let's talk about your colleagues in your businesses that you've brought in, because you have brought into Middlesex County a lot of resources that we would never have known about.
I have a great network, I would say, shrinking a little bit because I'm not out and about networking as much as I had been. But my colleague Richard Hughes has been a huge partner and friend, and has brought so much to the team as well. And we've it's been interesting. I've actually, one of the folks that I contacted was with regard to AI. We did a one session on AI, and I just went through my LinkedIn contacts and found someone that had AI in their credentials. And I'm still in contact with her. She did a great presentation very early on, gave us some tips on how to take advantage of it. And yeah, as I said, I'm still in contact. But we've had HR folks, we've had new leaders starting out their consulting practice. Um, and there's one person who's a technology guy. I'm really interested in getting to come and share his expertise, and it's hasn't worked out so far, but I'm really looking forward to that too.
But I have to thank you, Tom, because I know what it's like to try to coordinate everything for a meeting. And so do the CEOs, which is why they said to you, like, oh, I like coming and I don't have to do all the backroom stuff. So you have spent considerable hours of your time doing that for us, not just for us, but I know you're so active with Essex Land Trust. The three-letter word that keeps on coming to mind is why. What's the payback for you?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, it's really we've been very fortunate and blessed in so many ways, and it's just really giving back, and thanks for the great fortune that we've had. And I think also, for me, like I'm not the guy you're going to find at the soup kitchen handing out food. I'm not a one-on-one looking in somebody's eyes. I prefer to work with the leadership team where
Mhm.
my efforts and my investment, if you will, gets leveraged. If I can help a nonprofit continue their good work where they're providing food for hundreds of people, or folks that are, doing programming for people with disabilities, and I mean hundreds and hundreds of folks. To me, that's extremely powerful and quite gratifying.
Well, again, thank you for a really good term, leverage. And that's why we love the Community Foundation. I love working there because I think, there's a ripple effect of things that we do. And I hope the board sees that. So, one thing can be used by multiple nonprofits. And so that's leveraging our expertise. I'm going to ask you to go back to when the doctor was in. You were the doctor was in before, and you still are, before the pandemic. And the one success story that I'd like you to share with everybody is bare necessities.
Oh.
Oh my, you deserve a diploma, a graduation hat, and all of the above.
Well, I would say I'm pretty good at asking hard questions. And but all the ideas really came from Beth and her team. They do a great job, and it was very early on, and they had some decisions to make. And I think it was helpful for her just to have the conversation
Yeah.
with somebody. I think, some of the sessions that I've had is, I've said very little and have let people talk, and they sort of kind of say come to their own conclusions. But uh, one person in particular, one of the very first folks that came in to see me as the doctor, uh, I asked just one question: "How are you doing?" And they talked for an hour. And when they finished, they stood up and said, "Thank you very much. This was extremely helpful." So,
And sometimes that's just what you need. But for those who don't know, the doctor is in. It's really a free consulting for folks either in the process of starting a nonprofit or as a nonprofit when they're faced with a challenge and they don't need to share it in a network. So, but I will share the story. Pam and Beth, who started Bare Necessities. And for those of you who don't know, it's a diaper bank that services the shoreline area. And these ladies are just amazing. But you really help them get started. And they will celebrate their 10th anniversary this
wow.
year. It's just amazing. And if you're riding around on the shoreline, you may see the Bare Necessities diaper van driving and delivering, helping to deliver. And your wife, Evelyn, ended up volunteering for them. So there's this positive ripple effect all the way along.
They do such great work. It's really it's a pleasure to help them. And uh, the little ad for them is the power of a diaper is completely understated.
Oh my gosh.
It's freeing and enabling for young mothers to be able to go back to work so they can put their kids in childcare. Who knew?
Yep. And what we take for granted, the nonprofits don't, and they help get people on their feet. So thank you for that. But the next adventure is the Developing Leaders program that starts soon. So tell us how that came about.
So I'm so excited about it. Yeah, our first meeting is tomorrow morning. It's a group of seven uh, kind of next generation leaders.
Right.
Uh, we had been talking about it through the Nonprofit Resource Center about doing, how there's a lot of movement with the, upcoming leaders, and, how do we help the nonprofits prepare that next group of leaders,
Mhm.
and so they're ready, willing, and able to jump in. Many of the nonprofits they're looking at succession, and they are finding sometimes it's very difficult to find, particularly for founders of organizations,
Right.
trying to find someone that's as passionate about the organization as they are. Uh, so trying to really cultivate that passion, and also be sure that they've got the skills and that trusted network that's going to help them into the to the next phase of their leadership journey.
This will be very exciting to watch, and so we thank you for that. And let's say that in 7 or 8 years, we'll see where they are and see things that are coming up. Everyone always says, not everyone, you certainly don't. I don't have time. I can't do that. I'm too busy. What would you say to somebody about volunteering?
Come on in. The water's fine.
Perfect.
I think Michelle Rolnick said something like, if you need something done, ask somebody who's too busy, because the folks that seemingly are too busy are never seem to, they're always really willing to jump in and help out. But it takes time. Spirit of full disclosure, it can take a lot of time depending on what you do. But
Right.
it's easy to start small. To pick a organization that you're passionate about. I would say the most important thing is to be passionate about the mission of the organization that you want to volunteer with, and everything else kind of takes care of itself.
And if people have questions and say, I'm passionate about X, Y, and Z reading, we at the Community Foundation, because we're so nosy and try to know everything, can probably point people in the right direction and connect the dots, as we like to say.
Yeah.
Tom, this has been absolutely great. Doctor is in, CEO Network, upcoming leadership. You've done it all. Is there a question I should have asked that I didn't ask?
I think you've been pretty thorough as usual. But I would say there is one thing I would like to say, and I would really like to thank you and everybody at the Community Foundation.
Oh, thanks.
Me being a volunteer and has really helped me, provided a platform to do the kind of work that I'd like to do. And, from the Doctors In to the CEO Network to the Janvrin Fund, this is all things that I'm passionate about. And, it's been very easy through the Community Foundation to do that work.
Well, thank you for that. And it's our pleasure. It really is our pleasure. Well, Tom, I hope you're going to get some time off. What are you looking forward to in the next month or so?
So I'm very happy to say we're off to Croatia for a couple of weeks, and
Love it.
we're looking forward to it. It wasn't at the top of our bucket list, but we had heard such wonderful things about it from fellow travelers that we signed right up. So that's coming up in a couple of weeks.
Well, good, safe and wonderful travels. And I have to say thank you to you for all you do for our community and our nonprofits. And to everybody out there, please hug your favorite nonprofit. They do more than you think they do. And I also have to give a shout out to Evelyn for her volunteer work for Bare Necessities. So, Tom, Middlesex County is pretty special, but we're very fortunate to have a special person like you and Evelyn in our midst. So thank you for all you do.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you for joining us for this week's episode of Meaningful Mondays. At the Community Foundation of Middlesex County, we know that philanthropy matters and philanthropy works. Together, we support the arts, education, human services, animal welfare, the environment, heritage enhancements, and so much more by providing services, programs, and grants to our local nonprofits. We invite you to learn more and share your passion with us. Visit us at middlesexcountycf.org or contact us at 860-347-0025. Together, we can make great things happen.